Hello, my name is Dr. George Bud Baker. Please call me Bud. I am a War College professor and also the Associate Director here at the Navy Senior Enlisted Academy. So today I thought I would go over an overview of the course in Blackboard. But first, let's start. We are looking at the Senior Enlisted Academy homepage. Senior Enlisted Academy is part of the Naval War College, and that's why our homepage is nestled underneath the War College's website. So you can find it by Googling Navy SEA and it'll take you here. Because we're part of the War College, all these buttons on the top, those are all War College buttons. But our stuff is all down here on the right hand side. I'd encourage you to visit our website, particularly this section here, SEA in-residence information, just before you come to the in-residence portion. There's a lot of good information there as well. Using the breadcrumbs to get back to the main page. Here is the contact SEA, all our contact information is there, as well as the frequently asked questions. Do take a look at that. It's broken down by the different phases as you progress through the Navy Senior Enlisted Academy. Okay? Well, to get to Blackboard, from here you can go to a couple places. I have a link here and there's a link at the top, but likely you're not going to start from here. So let's go to a clean page, and then we go to any search engine and enter in Naval War College Blackboard. So NWC Blackboard, BLACKBOARD, and there it is. Comes right up, and that's typically the top one that's in there. So today I will log in as a test student so you can see the course from the student perspective. When you get to Blackboard, this is the Blackboard main page. Before you do anything, I'd encourage you to go check your personal information and make sure particularly that your email address is correct. Sometimes you sign up for these courses long ago on one command, but by the time you actually get enrolled, you've transferred off. Well, the email address that you entered into Empower when you first registered for the course feeds into Blackboard. So Empower feeds Blackboard. Therefore, if you have transferred off and that email address is no longer valid, then when faculty send you emails via Blackboard, it will go to that old address, and that's not going to do anybody any good. So please verify that email address in Blackboard, and if it is incorrect, then you need to go to Empower to change it, because remember, Empower feeds Blackboard. If you change it here in Blackboard, the next time Empower updates, Empower will change it back to what it was in Empower. So go ahead and please check that. All right. Without further ado, let's go to the courses. There are two courses here. I'm looking at the active duty course template, and this is, as implies, the template course. Your course might be a little bit different because sometimes the professors will modify those, but you will see that it should pretty much work out this way. We begin with the announcements page. Every time you click on it, brings you to the latest announcement. If you want to look for older announcements, by the way, as the course progresses, this little tab down here labeled Announcements will bring you there. All right, so you go to Announcements, read that. When you get to your course, go to the Start Here button. Always a good place to start. And within here, the top, from the first thing in there is going to tell you everything you need to do in the Start Here to get ready for this course. Now typically you will get access to Blackboard course usually Friday of what I call week 0. The course doesn't officially begin until Monday of week 1. So Monday week 1, that's when things really start. But we give you access a little bit early so that you can kind of glance through there. All right, so here's some stuff that you need to do before, just to get off onto the right foot. This video, incidentally, is right here. If you click here, you'll be getting this video, which is hopefully you've done that. Now you can read the syllabus and note when your assignments are due. Set up your turnitin.com account. Watch the APA videos down here in the writing resources. These are all the things that you need to do to go through the course and get ready. All right, so the next thing we go is looking at the syllabus. I'm actually going to start with what I call the overview. So I'll click on that, and it is in Adobe, so it's going to take a little bit of time to come up. Here we go. And you can see with the overview, this is course 2.0 by the way, with the overview, it begins with, there's the topic and then what you have to do for that week. So each week is broken down that week. Started with the Start Here, view this video, set up your turnitin.com account, read everything, and then look through the APA videos. All right, week 1, here's your week 1 is all about 3-part comms, effective writing, ethos, sailor's creed, has everything that you need to do in there. These red things, by the way, are deliverables, so you want to make sure that you get those down on the calendar. So, for example, down here you have an ethics essay due in week 2 on Wednesday. Over on the other side, capstone milestone 1 is due on Monday 0700 of week 4. So write those things down on your calendar. So you can see it goes weeks 1 all the way through weeks 9. And there's a lot of good information in there. All right, we'll close that out. Now we're going to go to the syllabus, which is what I really want you to read, everything beginning. And you'll see that overview is already part of the syllabus. Again, going to the 2-page view to make it quicker. Go through all the detail, gives you an overview, what the objectives are. And here you can see that week-by-week breakdown. It's the same thing. Actually, I lift one and I copy it right into the other. So they're both identical. And then we get down, you have some other stuff here. Here's the grade breakdown. Some of you are going to be very excited about that. You can see that some things are feedback only, others count as points. So, do note those things there. 40% of your grade, 41 actually, comes from the distance learning phase, and 59% comes from when you get in resident. I see 2 quizzes, a final exam, all kinds of good information in there. Do pay attention also to this when assignments are due. If assignments aren't turned in on time, that gets you into the student action matrix. And here you can see that that's when bad things happen when you get into that matrix. So please make sure your stuff is turned in on time and make sure that stuff goes well. Oh, one last thing to highlight. This sentence here on BCA standards. Please make sure you show up within standards. Believe it or not, we tend to lose a few folks almost with every class that show up not in standards, and that's not a good thing for anybody. So, all right, enough of that. Okay, let's go back to the course and keep going all the way through here. So we've gone through the beginning. There's your turnitin.com. There's the last thing in here is the download support material. Download support material has all the quizzes, the weekly discussion board posts, and the syllabus, and all the handouts that are associated with the entire course. And then weeks 1 through 9 are a function of, we'll give you the readings and the lecture material for each of those weeks. So for example, if you knew you were going to be out at sea for weeks 3, 4, and 5, download that material ahead of time so that when you're out at sea, the only thing you need to do is get online to do a quick discussion board post, and then you're done, right? Or whatever else you need to do for that week. But at least you're not trying to download videos and lecture material while you're out at sea. That would be just too hard. All right, there we go. So there is the Start Here folder. Now we get into where you'll spend most of your time is in the learning modules. And again, these are broken up by the weeks. So you have weeks 1 through 9. And at the beginning of each week is laid out in the same format. It starts up top with the requirements, what it is you have to do that week. Then it goes to learning objectives, readings. You can click on these and download them individually, or you could download the entire week with the in the Start Here folder. Same thing with the lecture material. Lastly, looking ahead, I like to give you the reading load and the video load for the next week, and then I like to look about 2 to 3 weeks ahead in terms of what the deliverables are. So here at the end of week 1, you'll see you have some items that are due week 2, one on Wednesday week 2, one at Sunday of week 2, and then there's an item that's also due on week 4. Incidentally, all of these burnt orange items, or red or burnt orange, however you want to look at it, I call those proof of life items. Those are things that we can tell that you are actually out there and participating in the course. So for example, when you have to complete your discussion board requirements, we'll see that posting in the discussion boards. You establish a turnitin.com account. We'll see that we can go into turnitin.com on our side and say, yep, Bud has established his account. You complete the mandatory class up survey. Incidentally, that is due at the end of week 1. You get that from me. That's via email. If you haven't received it by Monday noon of week 1, So week 1, day 1, noontime, then please email me directly. It probably means I have a bad email address for you. One that you used when you signed up for the course back when you were on some other ship, and now of course nobody's there to answer the mail on that ship because you've moved off to another place. So that's where you need to communicate with me directly, and then I'll get you into the survey system. The survey system is separate from the Blackboard system. So even though you change it in one, it won't change it in the other. I run the survey system. I have to manually make those entries. So these red things are all proof of life. Okay? And now if I go to week 2, a couple ways to get back to week 2. I could use the learning modules to go to all of them. I could use the back arrow. I almost never use that in Blackboard because you never know where it's going to take you. Where I use primarily these things at the top called breadcrumbs. So I'll go back to learning modules that way. And then I'll go into week 2. And sure enough, guess what? Starts off with what I have to get done that week, what the objectives are, what the readings are, what the lecture material is, and then looking ahead. All right. So you can kind of see each week it's that way over and over. You're right at the very beginning, lists you what the requirements are for that week. All right. So there you go. Those are all the learning modules. Assignments. Well, you'll notice here that in week 2 it says ethics essays due to turnitin.com. See details under the assignments tab. Here's the assignments tab over here. And if we click on that, this is everything that you will need to turn in paper-wise and project-wise while you're here. It begins with the ethics essay, which is due on Wednesday. And then here's a capstone, which you'll be starting typically in week 2, and you carry it all the way through week 11, which is when you get in residence here, your second week in residence. Problem essay, and again, each of these is set up so that you get the turnitin.com link there, the practical exercise, which gives you all the details for that, and then any handouts that you need to support it. So if you're looking, for example, that first one, the ethics essay that's due, click on the PE link, and then that will spell out everything you need to do for that paper. Okay? So that's what the assignments tab is all about. All the details of what's due is under the assignments. Next is the whole class discussion. We really have 2 levels in Blackboard. We have the whole class level, which this is part of, the whole class discussion board, meaning that when you post something in here, everybody in the class can see it. And then we have the group level, and I'll show you that in a little bit. At the group level, only your group mates can see what you post and what you put in there. We do that because, trust me, you wouldn't want to be in a class, a Blackboard class, with over 100 students. That's going to be a lot of posts to read. So to make it manageable, we bring you down to the group level for most of your discussion board posts. This is the one exception, which is your intro. And what we want you to do is be able to see everybody who's in your class. So what we do is, now in this role, I'm going to be in the blue group. So I would go to the blue group discussion board, click on the link over to the side. That will bring it in. It says, please include a photo, all that stuff. I'm the first one, so I get to create a new thread. And you will see if you create a thread for your own intro. Don't tag on to somebody else's to create your intro. Create a thread for your intro. And so in here I'm going to say Bud Baker intro. And then I will go down and start typing all this stuff. I was born. No, we don't want to go back that far, right? But you get the feel. Is you put some stuff and give you us a little bit of background. Please include a photo, preferably something recent, because oftentimes people see faces and they remember faces quicker than they'll remember names, right? So we put all that stuff in here. All these buttons, explore them. It's not as robust, but it is a little bit of editing, bold, italic, in underline. Here is where you can attach a file or you can insert a photo as well. I'm not going to submit this. I'm just going to cancel out. But then that would show up in the blue group form. Again, I'm going to use the breadcrumb to go back. And then once your folks start posting in these other forums, incidentally, you're only going to have as many color groups as you actually have groups. So this is the template, so it has everything in it. But when the class isn't full, then what I'll do is we go ahead and delete the groups that aren't in there so that it just keeps the course a little cleaner. But feel free to go through and cruise through all these other groups that are in there, see who's in there, and recognize some of your classmates who might not be in your group, but they will be in your class, and you'll get to see them when you come here in resident. The water cooler is typical of Blackboard courses. This is the whole course forum. So if you have a question or a comment, or you want to talk about something that is not necessarily curriculum related, put a post in that water cooler, and everyone will be able to see it and respond to it. So for example, hey, you realize that we're going to be traveling over the Thanksgiving holiday. You better book your tickets early, or something to that effect. Who knows? You'll think of things to put in there, but that's fine. All right, so at this point, I'm going to just continue on down to the buttons, and then I'll get to the groups, and I'll show you the group discussion board after that. But so that's the whole class forum, post your intro. So next we'll go to the Writing Resources tab. It begins with links to, this is going to link out of the Blackboard site to the Harvard website and go through a series of APA tutorials. Here at the Navy Senior Enlisted Academy, we use the APA. I get this question all the time. Bud, why APA? In fact, I asked that question once of Win Young long ago, back when Win was on active duty and he was our course director. And he put it quite simply. He said, Bud, actually my question was, why don't we use Chicago Manual of Style? Because we're part of the War College, and that's what we use at the War College is CMS. Why don't we use CMS over here? Why do we use APA? Win said, Bud, here's the Chicago Manual of Style. See how thick that is? That's a thick book, right? Here is the APA, American Psychological Association Manual of Style. See how thick that is? Which one would you rather read? And I said, yeah, you're right, Win. Plus, the Chicago Manual of Style is a little, not only is it a thicker book, it's far more complicated. In CMS, you have endnotes, you have footnotes, endnotes, and references. And depending on which one you're posting in, the format is different for all three. In APA, you just simply have in-text citations and references in the back. And it's much, much simpler. So trust me, APA is a good deal. These videos, if you haven't used APA before, these videos will really show you some how to get through and what you need to do. These again are all the handouts that you will need to get, or that will help you through the course. But please note that one of these handouts tends to stand out, right? Somebody put it in red, boldface, and all. Oh, that was me, yes. And it's the APA template in Word. So it has everything set up the way that you're supposed to do it. You can either write over or certainly download the template. Some people will write over, and most people just use it as a guide and create their own. It is very, very straightforward. A lot of good stuff here. And then lastly, awesome online writing websites. I would encourage you to go through these. These are all good. If anything, 10 common APA errors, please don't fall into those. If you have connectivity and you have the time, this will get you ahead of the game as well. All right, so that's the Writing Resources tab. Next we'll go to Study Skills. I keep track of all the statistics since I've been here in 2009. Demographically, I can tell you that 45 to 50% of the students in your class will likely have high school graduate as their highest achievement in formal education. Right? Then another 20 to 25% on top of that, associate's degree, and then the remainder will be bachelor's, master's, and occasionally a few doctorate that will come through here. Typically Air Force. Air Force students tend to have the doctorates. So if you're one of those folks who's been out of formal education for quite some time, let's see, 18 to 22 years of service is our average student demographic. And if you've been out of, and the last time you were in a formal education setting was high school, and that was 18 years ago, these videos will be very helpful. They really are. And if you can only watch one, watch number 4. That's pretty good as well. But we have that as a resource for you in setting up the time, setting up your stuff. All right, Study Skills, My Grades, Meet the Staff. Send email. Here's another way to communicate with your peers. All Learner uses, so those are all the students that are in the class. So if you want to spam all your students, click on that. If you want to select certain people, here's where you can collect 1 or 2, or also 1 or 2 professors. And then select groups is where you can send it to certain groups as well. All right, so I think we're through much of it. If I click on announcements, it's going to bring us right back where we started. Here is where you're going to get the meat of your your time in Blackboard, which is down into the groups. If you don't see it, it's probably because my groups isn't expanded. So you can see I am in the blue group here. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go right to the discussion board. And this is where I'm going to be spending the bulk of my time in the weekly discussion board between the learning modules, what I'm supposed to do that week, and then at the end of the week, there's actually Wednesday and Friday, there's always a posting that's required in there. So if I go through, for example, core values, now the links are all on the side for some reason. That's the way Blackboard has it set up. So if I go into week 1, each week has 2 questions that are posted in there. This case is core values and then ethics, creed, and ethos. So if I click on core values, there is the question, and all I do is click reply to that question. It opens up that same dialog box that you saw for the discussion post. I can change the subject if I want. I put my 2 cents on what I think about that question in there, and then again all that same formatting, and then I submit. I'm not going to submit this because it would clutter up the template course, and then I have to build another one, so I won't do that. So you can see, explore all these buttons down here. You have journals and wikis, and then there's also send email from there as well. And I think that's pretty much good enough for now. Realize that we have, you'll spend, I believe, the bulk of your time here in the learning modules, and then down in the groups, down in the group discussion board. That's where you'll post most of your weekly things. The difference between the group discussion board again and the whole class discussion board is at the group level, only you and your group mates can see what's going on, and then at the course level, which is where we're at now, everybody has access to that. All right, so there's a quick overview for you. Good luck at the course. Thank you for taking this course at the Navy Senior Enlisted Academy, and I look forward to meeting all of you in residence. Until then, Bud Baker, signing out.